Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Fearless Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Lynn, and today I have someone very special on. Deanna, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Great to be here.
The other half of TFA. This is your second episode with us, and by us, I mean me. So thank you for joining me today. I'm happy to have you, and we're going to talk today. We have very exciting news.
Our exciting news is that we have just hit 5 years of the Fearless Artist Mastermind, which
Yes.
is incredibly exciting.
Yeah, we did absolutely nothing to celebrate it, except this podcast episode is the reason. So we hit 5 years in February. We don't actually know the date. We have to look back and see what the day was of our first mastermind call. But yeah, we started TFA in 2020 of February, 1 month before our lockdown together. And it's been a wild ride. So I think this episode is to first of all celebrate the impact and talk about what we've learned and the highs and the lows of running a company together as best friends and now business partners. And yeah, I think it'd just be fun for the audience to first of all get to know you a little bit better, because that's why I started this podcast, is to be more open and vulnerable about the actual real behind the scenes process of what it takes to be a musician, because Instagram is very shiny and glamorous, and the podcast gives time to go deeper into thoughts. So I'm excited to have you. I'm excited for our audience to hear more from you. Started a blog recently, which is how you've been sharing a little bit. Do you want to tell us about that?
I did, yes. So I am a mom of two, and I started a blog this past 6 months ago. And it is all about being a mother and a musician and just the absolute craziness that entails. It is chaotic. It is messy. It is not easy to be a freelance musician doing multiple different things. I'm performing. I'm a violist. And I'm also teaching a regular studio of about 10 students. And I am also running the Fearless Artist. So managing all of that with kids is absolutely nuts, but so worth it. And it definitely is a wild ride.
I think you're inspiring a lot of people. You get a lot of messages every time you release a blog article. People thanking you for being real. People who are looking up to you. Women who want to become moms. Also dads. We've had dads write in and be like, hey, it's not just the ladies. We are, one of our very first mastermind clients, Meek, very good friend of mine, wrote in, and now he has 2 little girls. So he was like, I know what you're going through. I hear that too. So we're all about helping musicians learn how to balance the crazy, whether it's that you're traveling on the road all the time performing, or you've got a family at home that you have to manage while doing other things, teaching, you're coaching.
Exactly. And I felt like I had not seen a whole lot of other, like I don't have any mentors that to show me like, how do you do it? So that was my initial question, was like, how on earth do other musicians be parents and balance that with their careers and everything? So it's really fun to be able to open up the conversation to that and to hear other people's stories and experiences, and to connect about that has been really great so far.
Tell us a little bit. How do you do it? What's the
How
secret?
do you
What's the
do it?
secret
Oh
to
my
being
goodness.
I mean, you just listed everything that you do. So what is it?
You learn as you go. I mean, because every stage of babyhood and then toddlerhood is, you think you've got something handled, and then some developmental change happens, or somebody gets sick in the night, or you have to go to the hospital in the middle of the night, whatever it is. These things actually happen, and you just learn to, first of all, rely on your community, who's around you, who can help, making sure you have the childcare that you need so that you can be fully focused when you are doing something. For example, I have a very hard time practicing with my kids around. I need someone else to do that so I can be 100% focused on that. And then just making sure that you have open communication within your family, with your partner, and being able to juggle just the day-to-day stuff and make sure you have energy. There's no magic solution, but I think a lot of it is learning as you go.
Thanks for what you're sharing with that, because I know it's impacting a lot of people, and I know that's kind of your lane right now. I wanted to start this episode by asking you, okay, take us back 5 years ago. Where were we? What were we doing? Who came up with this crazy idea? Did we know what we were getting into?
Did we know? If you could have told us where we would be in 5 years, I think we would have done that. We would have laughed exactly like that and been like, that is insane. Can we even, like, how can we make that happen? So I think it's grown into so much more than we ever expected. I think we had a lot of the things that we're doing now, we had as dreams when we started, and thinking someday we'll have a membership. Like the membership.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, and then we could do different types of programs, and maybe someday we'll run workshops, and we have done so many. So a lot of these things started off as like little bubble ideas, brainstorming what we could actually do. It's more than just one thing, one mastermind. So
Yeah,
I
because
think there's been
Mastermind was
so
what we
much growth.
started with. It's good to say
Yep.
that. Like that was the original concept. It was a small group. We put out an Instagram post. We had 8 people sign up the first round.
Yep. Yeah, we had 2 different groups, and we, just started. We didn't have the name. We didn't even have our name yet, The Fearless Artist. That came slightly later. We didn't have a website, and it was really just, "Let's just jump into this and see what's gonna happen."
It's crazy though. It worked just from an Instagram post and talking. I mean, they were all personal friends in the beginning, and it was 1 month before lockdown. We didn't know COVID was coming. We had done a mastermind with some of your Juilliard colleagues. We loved the concept. We thought it could go deeper with facilitation and having good conversations. We understand the power of coaching because we had done some stuff before. We'd been introduced to that. So, okay, but why did we agree to do this together in the first place? I mean,
Oh,
I
in
have
the
my
first
reasons,
place.
but
I have
what are
my
your
reasons
reasons?
too.
Oh, good.
Yes, my reasons, yes, is because Michelle and I work so well together, and we realized that when we were performing together.
Yeah.
I was living in Paris at the time. I'm now in Minneapolis, but I lived in Paris for about 10 years, and I met Michelle in 2015. We started playing together, and when we really were like, "Whoa, this is kind of weird how well we work together,"
Yeah.
was when we were doing outreach concerts through Juilliard Global Initiative Program. We were going around Europe giving master classes, interactive concerts that we got to create our own program with. And when we were doing those concerts, it was just like things were just flowing. Like you had your skills, I had my skills, and we had an amazing time. And we were fantastic travel partners. Like that does not happen
Yes.
with just anyone, where it's like the combination of both of us being flexible, but like also like spontaneity, no problem. We didn't have
Yeah.
any issues. It was just we had a lot of fun. And we saw our complementary skills come out when we were facilitating the concerts, and it was like, wow, we really work so well together.
That was like honestly a light bulb moment for me. I remember the moment when I was like, this is weird because when you travel with people, you really get to know them and they usually piss you off at some point. And I don't know, 8 to 10 trips across Switzerland multiple times, Madrid, Warsaw, Prague. And we were, trying new restaurants and we were going out and we could just agree. And like you're saying, there was this beautiful flow also in the facilitation of the outreach concerts. We would do the trade offs. Like you would explain the viola and I would explain the piano and then we'd get the kids. We were like facilitating for 300 kids in Warsaw that one
Yeah, and you
time.
were great at capturing everyone's attention, being like, like with the crowd control. Michelle was amazing. I was like, I can't do that.
The crowd
So,
control. I'm like, all right, everybody, listen up because we're going,
yeah,
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 totally.
but the
Yeah, yeah,
energy,
yeah.
our energy matched, and we just had so much fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think that was definitely and also getting lost together. We were never really mad about it. We're just like, okay.
All right, we'll figure it
Like
out.
though
Or waking up at
when that
4
one time
a.m.
oh yeah. Okay,
to
so this
go
one
to the
time we got into
airport.
a cab. Yes, we took a cab in Geneva to go to the airport at 4 a.m. and I jumped on Instagram to like make a story and you were like, that away.
Put that
You're like,
away.
no.
Put it away.
You were like, now is not the time. We're
Yep.
not doing this.
Yep.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and then that one time that we got to Switzerland and we didn't have Wi-Fi because this was before that we had like European data.
Mhm.
So we were completely lost and we couldn't contact our host to come pick us up.
Yep.
And
We were
we had to get
stuck.
Wi-Fi off of a bus. There was a bus that had free Wi-Fi. Remember?
That's right. That's right. Because we were like,
And
well,
I
our
had to go
concert
stand
starts in
beside this
15
bus to get
minutes.
this exactly. And then she picked us up anyway. And I think, I mean, coming back to your point, like the thing about being flexible was so key because those days when we were doing international outreach, like we were doing master classes, private lessons, concerts in the evening. We had one like
Mhm.
wine and dine fancy concert in Switzerland, but like the whole schedule would be thrown off. They would tell us like, okay, arrive at 9 and then you're working with these 2 classes and then you're going to go here and like everything would be different.
Yeah.
And we had to be so flexible.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think that's probably one of the key skills that we've brought into running TFA with this flexibility because we've had, as you said, like you mentioned earlier, learn as you go. It's like, well, that's literally how we've built TFA. We have learned step by
Yeah.
step as we've gone. I mean, we built
We
our
never
website
said,
in August. Yeah.
Yeah, we never said like, okay, well, we can't run a company until we have taken these courses on accounting and business plan and all the stuff. Like we really learned as we went. We did some learning before we started the mastermind about how to run a mastermind, but it has just been constant learning. And when you're open to learning something new and you're passionate about that being a continual thing, probably a lifelong thing, then it's really this growth mindset that we infuse in everything we do with our musicians, but we also use that ourselves.
And I think another thing is that we've upgraded as we went. So we didn't start with like all the bells and whistles and super
Mhm.
fancy. Like we built our own website from the beginning, our Instagram. I was just building it like one unsplash picture at a time, like stock photos. Like we were just trying to start sharing ideas and starting to connect with other musicians and like get the word out basically. And back then, Mastermind, we were like just starting groups every, what, 3-4 months or something?
Yep.
So then it was a lot of like talking to people and just explaining the idea. Many people didn't even know what it was, like, or why you would want it or need it. And then we were trying to figure out things like pricing and what was actually helpful for people. But then we got results so quickly from those first groups. Do you remember?
Oh yeah. It was really, really cool to see that like, okay, wow, this thing, it's working. People want to do it. They are accomplishing projects and ideas and things that they would never have without us. So that was proof that we're onto something here and we can continue developing it.
Okay, what do you love about coaching? What do you love about facilitating our groups?
Just I'm very much like a one-on-one or small group person. Like I love getting to know people, getting to know their thoughts and having the exchange. So especially with our small group things, seeing everyone's viewpoints and letting them have a voice and seeing their discovery moments or their learning. I love when people are sharing their own experiences so that others can learn from that. But especially
Mm.
from the coaching perspective, like being able to unlock and see, kind of dig deeper. So we're not just like you call your friend up when you have a problem, they say, "Oh, well, just do this." And then you're like, "That's not really my issue here." With coaching, like it's really more in depth and figuring out where you're coming from, what's going on, what's the background, and that way you can start to unlock the pieces in there.
Yeah, and we just saw so many musicians struggling on their own because like oh you're the one who came up with our like catchphrase. We don't wait for the phone to ring, we make the phone ring ourselves. I mean, I say that every lesson in my entrepreneurship class. We make the phone ring because we've learned we have to take initiative, we have to send the pitches, we have to send the emails, we have to think of ideas and projects and talk to people. And I think when you and I graduated, it was like, okay, like somehow there's going to be a career waiting for us. If you've been listening to this podcast, then you know our stories. But and I mean, that's changing now. I think people are becoming more aware of the fact like, oh, I need to actually make this happen. What's something that you remember from the early days?
Something I remember from the early days.
Like, what was the
Um,
feeling that we had when we started this? Like, coming back to the first question of like, if we saw where we would be 5 years later, you know, because I mean, what do we have right now? We have thousands of Instagram followers. We've got a podcast. We've got a blog. We've got a membership with over 30 members. We've got a
yeah,
mastermind with 8 people in the mastermind.
it's
We've
crazy.
got our social media programs. We get messages constantly from complete strangers reaching out to us asking for advice and wisdom. And like, we've created this platform. I don't think I realized how big it is
Hmm.
and that we stepped into such a needed area.
Yes. And I think, I mean, I would be blown away if you told me all those statistics from the beginning. Like, this is where you're going to be in 5 years. But I think what astonishes me the most is how we've built everything that we have when this is not our full time job, like for either of
Mhm.
us. This is not full time. I mean, in the beginning, we had two work sessions together of 2 hours each. And it's like, whoa, how did we, how did we make all this happen? And it is by building up more and more and investing more time and expanding our team eventually um, and so much more. But um, yeah, it's really amazing to see how far we've come with all of the things that we're doing.
Okay, so in the last 5 years, what did you have a moment when it was like, okay, wait, we're actually doing this?
Mhm. That's a good question.
I know. I was
Oh,
thinking about that too. Because I think, as you're saying, like we were kind of figuring it out as we went. We were seeing that there was success, but then all of a sudden we started kind of really going after it seriously because we were kind of, I mean, even now we're not even half time. We're working like 10 to 15 hours each on this while, you know, you're momming and freelancing and teaching, and I'm playing 10, 12 shows a month. So we're putting in as much time to this as we can. There's so much more potential we could have. I mean, when you say like we're not even doing it full time, it's like, yeah, imagine how much further we could be if we had like put in like 20 hours a week. But like, it's just not possible. It's not possible the way that we are. And we've expanded the team.
yeah.
Like we have two girls working for us, and they're doing a great job, and that's helped us a lot. And then building as we go. I mean, we started bringing finally, you know, I think a big moment for us was when we hired out a new website and brand design. That was like a really turning point, I think.
That was because that was a financial investment, and that was like, okay,
Yeah.
our website was working for us. We had built it from scratch, but we are gonna make this for real now. We need the branding, we need the clarity, and just like stepping it up a level. So I think we keep have every year we have these levels where we step up. And I think the moment where I'm like, oh, wow, we're doing this is like every year when we do our review of the year. And we're like, look how
Hmm.
much we have accomplished. Look how much we have learned. We always do this every year. We do a year review. And so those are the moments where I'm like, whoa, you can really compare it from one year to the next and to see what all that we learned, all that we invested in, all that we expanded upon, how many musicians we worked with, and especially this past year has been like enormous compared to the year before it. So it was just really amazing to see
Yeah,
like
this year has been
we're
huge.
we're not just plateauing and just going along and saying, well, okay, we even with the amount of hours that we have available, we are still like going up on the graph.
Okay, why is
And
that?
that's amazing. Why is that? We got smarter. I think like you said, we it was
We did
huge
get smarter.
hiring a team, like not
Yeah.
just being the two of us, because we realized there is only so many hours in the day that we can both do. But once we realized what are our strong points in the company, and then what can we delegate to other people, that has been huge because all of a sudden we both have weights lifted from us of things that someone else could do. Does not have to be us, so that we are doing the things that only we can do.
Yeah, that's true. We got really specific in job roles early on. We read a couple of really great books that helped us, like The E
Hmm.
Myth, if anyone's listening, or Rocket Fuel. Totally changed the game for
Especially
us
that
because that
one.
really we found out the founding members of the company. One's a visionary, one's the integrator. So one's got like the ideas and the vision and the mostly the ideas, a lot of pizzazz, and then the integrator's like, okay, following up with structures and systems and putting things in place. And but you need both. I mean, I think both of us have at times complemented those roles or taken those roles over from each other. I mean, your husband named our company for an idea, but you also had great ideas, and then sometimes, I mean, we've had to pull back and make sure things were running smoothly. Okay, if you could go back to when we first started TFA, just to like wrap up that
Yeah.
idea, like
Hmm.
what would you tell Deanna and Michelle from 2020?
Well, I mean, kind of what we were doing, I would say, like, just stick with it, be persistent. Because we've had moments where we thought, well, is this worth it? Should we continue? Are we wasting our time? Should we throw the towel in? Those are the hardest moments we've ever had to experience. And they were very hard. So just to know, like, just be persistent and
I mean, talk a little bit more about like that really hard moment or moments. I mean, there was a couple times when we were like, all right, like we don't know if it's worth it anymore. What did that mean to
yeah.
you?
I think that meant that like we have to make it it was like a turning point in the road. Like we're going straight and all of a sudden there's a fork. And either we say, you know what, this is not a hobby. We can't have something that's a hobby that we're investing so much time into because we both have careers aside from this. And the other option is like, whatever's not working, we're going to figure it out. We're going to fix it, change it, hire a business coach, which we have, and really take ourselves more seriously
Yep.
and be more efficient with our time. Maybe delegate to other
Yes.
people. We've had that moment where we're like, well, either we do this for real or we don't because it can't just continue to be a hobby for us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we did pay ourselves for the first 3 years that we worked for TFA. And we saw returns in other ways. I mean, I got hired at conservatory jobs where I was teaching, and I felt like that was a direct result of my authority on what I was coaching and like all the Instagram content and, newsletters and stuff. And I know it was very rewarding in other ways and just building our what you're saying, hearing from people, hearing how musicians are struggling and how we've seen so much impact and the results of what they were accomplishing. I mean, that was really hard. And I think another big turning point was when we got serious about like paying ourselves a salary. I know I saw in you like a huge shift at that point.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
No, very it can be very motivating. Imagine that.
Yeah. Right.
Um yeah, but it was just like, okay, yes, we're doing this and we're committing the time and trying to figure out how we can do things in a more efficient way.
Okay, talk a little bit about the fact that we're like best friends and running a company together. How has that been for us? I mean, how have we stayed close, connected? Do you have any thoughts around this?
Oh yeah. Sure. Um well I think one of the just to highlight one of our highlights of us as a friends and company and everything is that we are very easy to weave in and out of discussions about the company. So maybe we're talking about how our day was, and then we're like, "Oh, hey, also, did you notice this, or did you think about this? I was thinking about this for the program." Like, it's always been we haven't had this, like, "Oh, we have to only talk about work during certain hours," or
Hmm.
we can't talk. I mean, we do in our work sessions, we're very focused, right? So our work
Yeah, yeah.
time, we're absolutely 100% focused, but and the other times when we can also just be friends, we can still, even when we see each other in person, we're still talking a lot about the company. Like, we're always going in and out of conversations about it. So that's something that I always enjoy, that is just comes very naturally to us to do that.
I think it's because we care so much about people. I think both of us are deeply caring about the musicians that we work with. And I think more and more recently, I've become maybe, uh, I've recognized the honor that it is to have so much authority and influence to speak in people's lives. I think a turning point for me was when people started telling me, like, we hear your voice in our head when we're going to do things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, that, I don't know, that kind of just hit me a little bit. I was like, okay, I mean, I am so grateful to have a place in your brain, and I really hope it's like a good voice telling you to go for your dreams and, be fearless and all the things that I preach about on Instagram every day. But I think that for me, it was like a little bit of a smack in the face. Like, people are paying attention and they are listening. And like, what are you doing with that responsibility? Because we are shaping, I mean, I've had one of our early participants tell me that he made a serious career decision because of something that I had said in a coaching call with him. And I think that was also a big moment for me. And not that I've ever been careless with like a coaching session, but it just made me realize even more the weight or the responsibility of like really trying to hear where people are at and like help them. And so I think that's why it's so easy for us to go in and out during our day-to-day
Yep,
conversations because we just like we really care about the people that we're working with. And we really just want
absolutely.
musicians to have every opportunity that's in front of them and to be able to go for it and not have any limitations because the industry that we're in has given us nothing but limitations from the beginning. You need
Hmm.
to play perfectly, you need to look perfect, you need to meet all the right people, you need to go to the right schools, you need to be with the right orchestra programs and like all these
Hmm.
rules. And so we want to take off the limitations and like look at possibilities.
Yeah, exactly. It's just an honor to see the impact that we've had on so many people whenever we receive messages from people saying how much we help them or how they've changed, or the development over years, because we've had musicians working with us for several years by now, and it's just incredible to see, like, wow, imagine if we didn't exist. Like, that would be a crazy, like, hole of, like, we've created this huge web of musicians from all over the world, and if we hadn't
Yes.
started this, it's hard to imagine if we didn't have it.
I mean, talk a little bit because I know our originals they would love a shout out. So like the Mari and Omar, they've been with us for 5 years. From 5 years, they've been in all of our
Every
programs at
program.
some point.
Yes,
Every
and
program
still
that we've
are.
offered. So we
We
have
love you.
yes, they currently are. So Mastermind, the social media sprint, which is 6 weeks, and then we have our monthly memberships. So like I mean, we've developed deep friendships with these people as well,
Mhm,
and we
mhm.
now consider them friends. I mean, Omar even came when he was on his Europe tour, came and visited and like met
Yep,
Hannah
got
and
to see
stuff. And I mean,
him.
it's just like,
Mhm.
yeah, when you're saying it's a privilege, well, how do you feel about that? That we've had these people in our lives for 5 years that we never would
I
have
think
met
it's
if we
incredible.
hadn't started TFA.
I think
Yeah,
it's incredible, and the only thing better than that would be when we will have someday a reunion and meet everyone in person. But it is so cool to have developed those kinds of relationships where we are just continually in touch with the same people, and to see them blossom, to see them grow, and just to have them with us. It is such a positive community, and I think that is really
yes,
because of our authenticity. Like Michelle said, we care so much about people. We are authentic. We are not like salesy or pushy or trying to say, "Oh, we have all the answers." Like,
exactly.
basically, in all of our messaging, it is 100% authentic, and all the programs we have really a strong group of positive musicians who are when that kind of person comes together, it's like, wow, you see what energy can come out of that, and it's really cool.
I think that's probably the most important thing that you can say is the culture that we have built in the Fearless Artist, and that's something that we have crafted very intentionally. Uh, and Puck and Constantina who work for us, we've also shared that we call it the fearless mindset, but it's a culture of honor. It's a culture of being authentic. I mean, I compared myself for years to other pianists wearing fancy dresses, playing big venues, and thinking I was never going to be good enough or pretty enough or whatever. And all this toxic mindset of the perfectionism, we didn't even mention the Killing Perfectionism Challenge. I mean, that's one of our main things that there's been so much growth and impact with TFA. It's crazy. It's good that we're doing this episode because I don't think we take a lot of time to reflect on all of this because we're just like still so busy trying to keep up with what's coming and the to-do lists and things. But
Yes.
the culture that we've built of, I think every musician who comes in knows that they are highly valued and respected, and that we also deeply value their contribution in the membership. And we invite everyone to give feedback, to receive feedback. And even right now with the sprint social media that we're doing right now, everyone is giving feedback on everyone's content. And so you and I act as facilitators, but not as the people who have all the answers, because it's very interesting to hear multiple points of view. And that's the point of a mastermind, is that you are exchanging at the highest level ideas. And I think that is, you can't put a price on the price of an idea, because the potential of the idea, the potential of TFA, if we look back at how many, not just how much money we've generated, how many lives we've touched. I mean, you can't put a price on that. So if you find an idea and you find a way to execute it, this is priceless.
Yeah. What would you say about our friendship and how we can manage that and the company at the same time, and we're still friends?
I mean, it's just like, it's insane to suggest otherwise. I mean, one of the funniest moments was I was on a podcast and she said, tell me about Deanna, your business partner. And I was like, Deanna is the reason I'm alive today, and I laugh when I listened back to it, but like, we've done life together. We've done some really hard stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
And like, sometimes you go through seasons with people, you go through things. I mean, we're talking, we're both expats. We moved our entire worlds over to Europe. We restarted in new cultures, new languages, new network. That's a hard thing. So that's something we had in common. Then we found each other. You moved back. I think that move back was probably the most trying time for TFA, I would say. Adjusting to that, you were adjusting to moving back. We'd been there through some very difficult private things. And so I think at some point you're just like, this is my ride or die. Like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. It's an incredible bond. If we've been to the hard stuff, then we can figure anything out. Yeah. Learning how to deal with conflict and to not take things personally, but to be open and honest. And when things do come up, we deal with them. We do not brush things under the rug. We don't let resentment build up. We just are open to receiving that kind of feedback from each other. And that is definitely essential for both friendship, but especially the business relationship too. So that has gotten us through a lot of times that were tricky.
We talk a lot about an inner circle and the importance of having an inner circle, especially as like online public figures. Both you and I, we are careful about what we share online and what we don't share online. We have boundaries and like different levels between the two of us. But then you have your inner people, and and you're one of my core people in my life. So when you say something, I know that probably my ego is going to take a hit and I need to shut up and listen, and it might take me a couple days, but like, I'll think about it and reflect, and maybe I'll come back to you and I'll be like, okay, yeah, I hear you. Right. And it takes me a little bit of time. And I think you learned how to, like, first of all, have conflict and like have these open conversations and say like, this isn't working, or this, this needs to change.
Yeah, I'm not a person who loves confrontation. So for me, it's a big thing to say, I'm not going to run from this. We're going to deal with it head on. And that way you work things out.
What also is interesting is all of our conflicts or confrontations have been calm. Like, we've never had these like blow ups. It's never been like we're not speaking for, it's never been dramatic with us. And I think that's probably because of you, because I'm a little bit
zero drama, zero, please.
I'm a little bit more dramatic than you. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure everyone listening to this is very surprised right now. But I think because of your steadiness and your groundedness, it's been like, okay, there's an issue here. We got to work it out. Like, let's come back to it. We've always been really honest. We have, and also communication methods. Like, whether it's like a long voice memo that we'll dump on each other when one of us, most of our conversations are happening while we're driving. or like a voice note, or like a long text. Like, we've done all things. Like, I showed up at your house, I took a plane, like I've driven to Paris, to come see you like multiple times. And actually it was kind of hard today because I was in Paris for the day, and I could have gone to our favorite cafe, but I chose to go to the other location because I didn't want to go there without you. I was like, I can't do it. There's some fun things we've done. One of them is the photo shoot in front of the Eiffel Tower.
That was really fun. Yes.
Yes.
The Eiffel Tower.
We should bring back those pictures. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes. Oh, that was our first ever photo shoot.
Our first one.
For our first.
Yeah, exactly. That was super
walking
fun.
down a busy street in Paris getting photos. It was fun.
Yeah.
We were both like, I think we were both trying to figure out how to be business people too. Like we both wore blazers.
Well, I was 7 weeks postpartum. I'm like, what are we doing having this
Right.
photo shoot when I'm like 7 weeks postpartum?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we just, we do things with crazy timing because that's how life is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what you're saying, I
Mhm.
mean, we've had to just go with the flow and like, okay, like you just had a baby. And by the way, we're still coaching. And I mean, Mastermind saved. I mean, actually, we were having this conversation 2 days ago about remembering the lockdown because you had a very, very strict lockdown in Paris. You were allowed
Yeah.
1 hour a day outside, 1 kilometer
Yep.
radius once a day.
Mm.
And you had papers you had to show the police if they stopped you. Like it was intense. I had total freedom, which I'm sorry to say, but I did. I could go outside wherever I wanted with the dog. And we were talking about that. And I said, how did you not go insane? And you said TFA had really saved you those months, like the structure.
Oh, mentally, I would have just gone bonkers. My apartment was 32 square meters, which is like 350 square feet. And to spend almost 24/7 locked up in there, cooped up in there, I would have just driven me insane. But it was so great to have this to work on. It just happened to be at the right time. So I have a question for you. If
I
our
can tell you
roles
do
were
because I knew you were listening.
I'm like looking at it. So if our roles were suddenly reversed for a month, what would be the first thing you would struggle with?
Struggle with? I mean, I was
Our
thinking about
company
it
roles.
today on coming back from the car. Like, I mean, I think we have 3 new people who want to sign up for Fast Forward, and I literally don't know, like, in the back end, this form and this Excel sheet and write this down here. And like, I'm just like, I'm the talker. Like I'm like, oh yeah, this is what you're gonna get in Fast Forward, and this is gonna be awesome, and like we're gonna hype you up, and then make sure you get your goals, and you're gonna feel super supported, and like, okay, here you want to join, here's the Stripe link, and then what? I don't know. Then what? What happens?
And then what?
I don't know.
I thought
I'm
that
like,
would be your
see you on the
answer.
call.
Get lost in the sauna. The thing lost in there.
Asana. Asana is my
Yeah.
death wish. I do not. Anyway,
I
but
love Asana. It's
ironically,
great.
I'm the one. I'm the one who brought it to the company because I had a business coach who was like, you need to use this. And I was like, oh, Deanna, we're going to do this thing called Asana. And then I like just don't use it the way that we're supposed to. But anyway.
And it's like my favorite thing. Yeah. Can get everything all organized. Yep.
Is it your favorite thing? I don't think I knew this.
I mean, not literally my favorite thing. It is.
I didn't know you liked it so
extremely helpful. Well, yeah.
Okay.
That's
well, I know it's helpful. But okay. What would you say? I mean, I know what the answer is.
We both know what this answer is. I would be like, no, don't make me do stories and posts and content. And I would be sitting in front of the camera being like, okay, I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm
that's
just
not
kidding.
true.
That's not true. No, but you know what I mean.
We posted
like I'm
a
not
reel of you. Yeah. Well, you've significantly improved. First of all, and second of all, people love hearing from you. No, I'm arguing, but I mean, we posted a reel of you yesterday, and we already got like 3 or 4 new people who messaged us that they want to join the membership because of you. So like, you're good on camera. People love listening to you. You have a different approach. I mean, what would you say about our facilitation style?
Oh, facilitation style. It is complimentary, which is I think the best part about it. We've got you are very proactive in saying, in pushing people to their limits in the good way, like for them to grow and feel like you're asking the hard questions. For me, facilitation is more of the empathy side, say, oh, yep, I understand that. I really do. And to have just kind of a different approach, different style. But if we were both the same style, I think that would not work as well as it does because we need that energy, we need that flow and that give and take. And that's what I really love is that for most of the stuff we do, like we have different skill sets, we have different personalities, and they're so complementary. And that's why everything with TFA works. All right, so here's another question. How do we deal with setbacks? Because we have a lot of new ideas coming up and we try new things. And if something fails, how have we handled that?
Frustration?
First of all, frustration.
No, I mean, there have been moments that have been really tough. Like, I mean, we couldn't figure out how to get people. Like, we did a workshop once in August. It was with my life coach. And I remember she's just like the most beautiful person. And I really think she has transformed my thinking and helped me so much with perfectionism. So we brought her on to do this workshop. And then I think getting people to sign up, like we only had like 7 or 8 people. And I was just so crushed, or when people say that they're going to come and then for whatever reason they don't. That was also just like, oh, like, what are we doing wrong? Is it the timing? Is it the pricing? Is it the messaging? Is it the content? Like, I mean, these are all ways that, you know, you know what, how my answer, I'm getting to my answer is consistently trying again and letting like the ebbs and flows, like they're little losses now. They're not big losses. Like, okay, we had a, let's say I get someone on a one-on-one and I invite them to join mastermind and they end up saying no. It's like, okay, well, I've got like 5 more calls this week. So like, it's okay. I'm not like devastated.
Yeah.
I really hope that
Oh,
that
yeah.
person comes and if it's the right fit for them, but it's not like
Right.
these huge losses anymore. If a workshop doesn't work, it's like, okay, well, we do post Motorola's. That's been huge.
That's what I was going to say. The
Feedback. What?
feedback.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That was going to be my answer. It was like, we always look back after we finish something and we say, okay, how did it go? What went well? What went less well? What could we do better? What have we learned? And being able to critique ourselves, it's kind of like after you play an audition, instead of just walking out of it being like, well, that didn't work. Being able to look at it in detail and kind of analyze. I'm not a naturally analytic person, but when we specifically set out to do that, we really see, okay, we could figure out why didn't it work,
Mm-hmm.
for those reasons that you mentioned. Maybe it could have been any of those reasons. And then what can we do differently next time? And that's kind of part of our ongoing learning process and our ongoing, we want to improve our programs, make them better, make things work smoother. If we have technical glitches, we fix those right away. So that's been one of the things. The other, I mean,
Yeah, and
do you remember, you're probably going to forget about this one, but one year we thought, in the beginning, we thought, let's do a summer boot camp. I think we even called it like a boot camp something. And it just,
I didn't forget. Proud of that idea. I thought it was the best idea. I was excited about it.
it bombed totally. That was just, didn't go anywhere. But what our mindset is like, oh, okay, that didn't work. No problem. Let's move on to the next thing.
Well, kind of. I mean, I have had to overcome a lot of frustration, I would say. And I think that's also like we celebrate wins a lot and I do this very consistently because we have to train our minds to focus on what's working in the positive. And so me personally, I do tend to be critical or negative sometimes, mostly towards myself. But then that means it translates into like, people didn't show up for the workshop, or people said they were going to join and they didn't, or like we followed up 5 times with this one person and they ghosted us or whatever. And then I'll be like, ugh, like, that can really get me down sometimes. So sometimes I've been like grumpy in work sessions. And then so, having you to just like be calm and a bit neutral and like, okay, let's just keep going. Like what's on the task list today and keep moving forwards. I think one thing I want to
Yeah,
talk about today is the importance of tracking. Like when we started keeping track of stuff, that changed everything. Because before
that's
we were
true.
just like having loose ends coming out of our ears and we didn't know what was happening with like, well, we learned what a KPI is, first of all.
A
Like,
key performance
how to
indicator,
follow
for
up with
those of you who
people.
don't know.
Yeah, and like what to track, what's important to track, how not to get overloaded with information, like what needs to be written down where, dates, times, people, all of that changed everything for us.
It sure did, because you can feel like, so there's the emotional reaction like, oh, nothing's working. Or we can actually look at the numbers on paper and be like, well, hey, we forgot, or like we just were focusing on these things that were working, all the things that we did do in the right direction. Because that's the thing, it's a fine line between balancing critiquing ourselves and wanting to improve. And, there's sometimes frustrations when things aren't working as we want them to. And then the balance of that with celebrating the things that we have accomplished and all the things that we are doing. So maybe sometimes we have a fantastic month. We have maybe several new members joined program. Plus we did launched a new one. Maybe it's our sprint. But if other things happen, we can forget about all the wins. So we do, yeah, like you said, try and track the things that are going well, the things that are working, and focus on that. And how can we do more of that?
Yeah. And what my answer to that question was the membership. Fast forward, we thought that we were going to fail, but then we pulled it off. Because I remember there were a couple calls early days. We had like 3 or 4 people in it on a call, and we were just like, oh man, like where is this going and how are we going to do it? And we were pricing it so low back then. It was what, 37 a month or something. So we're basically making like nothing from this, and it was costing so much energy to figure out like how to talk about it, promote it, market it, and make content around
Mm-hmm.
it. I'm spending my entire life on like Instagram and 4 people in the membership, and then I remember my business coach, and she was just like, we're gonna fill this thing, and I kind of was like, okay, but how? Because I've been working so hard, and now we have over 30 people, and a lot of them will have the VIP version, which is where you get a coaching call, one on one per month, which is great. Yeah, that was very cool to see. And I guess that was like a pretty short turnaround. I don't know. Sometimes I have people ask me like, okay, so how long did it take you to build your company? I'm like, well, I mean, we're not, as you said, we're not working on it full time, and we're musicians trying to figure, like, we didn't learn any of this in school. Like,
Hmm.
we didn't do MBAs. Like, we didn't get, so I think it would be interesting to go back 5 years and go back into our brains and see like the lack of knowledge that we had then, and to see how much we've
Oh
actually
yeah.
learned.
Yes. It's just I think exponential if you look at it. Learning we have so many different systems and processing things like how to, payments and invoices and oh, and we became an actual real company too along the way. That was a big milestone for us.
Yeah.
So it's
2021 July.
and the people that we've hired on now to delegate things to and to take things on and to be able to make sure we have our monthly goal meetings and we have our monthly finance meetings and make sure that these things are regularly happening so we can really stay on top of all of our business goals. That's something we did not do. We didn't know about these things in the beginning.
We're more serious about our goal meetings, that's for sure. Just like reviewing the goals, but that's also something I've kind of learned across my whole life, because I realized in 2024 I'd made all these goals, and then at the end of 2023, at the beginning of 2024, I was like, wait, I didn't do like any of this. So like, there's a problem here. I think one of the biggest things we've learned is like we can make goals all day, but unless we put the systems, like you just said, in place to actually get the daily steps going, the weekly steps going, tracking that you're moving in the right direction. I mean, that's the beauty of fast forwards, that every 2 weeks you sit down, you're like, what have I actually done the last 2 weeks? Am I making progress? Where's my time going? Where's my energy going? Am I happy with my result? If not, what can I tweak? I think we find, I'd love for you to
And
talk a little bit, like, what have you learned from our musicians? Like, what are people struggling with the most?
well, the first word as you were speaking comes to me is accountability. Because
Yeah.
without accountability, these things don't happen. Those goals that we have and say, well, I'd like to be doing this thing. I'd like to record an album, or I'd like to pitch my concert program to different series. And life gets just in the way. It gets too busy. Or even for me, I've struggled with like, oh, wait, I don't have time for my blog. But with accountability, with you helping me and say, let's just pick out your topic, let's do it. And it works. And everybody who is in our programs, like that's one of our biggest things as freelance musicians. We don't have deadlines unless they are self-imposed often. I mean, there are some things that do have deadlines, like grant writing and things like that. But when we don't have a deadline, we say, well, I kind of like in general like to see my career change in this certain way. Some people say they perform more and they want to teach less, and they need a space to figure it out. They need people to talk it through, and they need to say, well, here's what I'm going to do in the next month, and that's going to be my deadline for having done this. And then have actual people say, all right, how's that going? Have you made progress on that? Did you do it? And if not, where did you get stuck, and how can we help you overcome that? That's where the magic is, because I think just as freelancers out there, we don't have that accountability in general.
100% the accountability, because if you know you have a meeting coming up and that you're going to be sharing and you haven't done anything, that is a great kick in the butt. And people use that very positively. They're like, oh, I knew that I was coming to this session tonight and I had to get going on my goals. And like, we'd have people say, like, I literally did this an hour ago. We like, it doesn't matter when you did it. Fact is that it's done. And now we can create some momentum and build some progress and move in the direction that you want to go. And I think like seeing people's eyes light up with the possibility, again, like taking limitations off of musicians, giving them abundance mindset or scarcity mindset. Okay, just like wrapping up, give me 3 highlight moments. Like if there was a highlight reel of the last 5 years, are there a few moments that like jump out to you as like, that was awesome, we had fun, we did a cool thing?
That is so hard. I remember in the very beginning, so there's the beginning stages, whenever we finish a mastermind, which at the time was a 12-week long program, we just had this sense of like, yes, we did it, and we got great feedback, and it's amazing. It was just like this high of having like finished what we set off to do and seeing how people really enjoyed it or made progress or loved it. So that really was great affirmation that we were doing something really impactful, making a difference in people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And another one, oh my goodness, so many moments. I mean, when we became a company, that was pretty exciting. It was like
Yeah,
a
it
champagne moment.
was.
Like we got to celebrate
Yeah.
this. Like it's the next step of taking ourselves seriously. We've got the accountant, we've got the company, we've got those things. Like this is a real thing, you know.
Yeah.
And third. That's so tough to say. I mean, I keep thinking about fast forward because we love our community so much, and just to see
Yeah.
it grow and to see how, like you said in the beginning of our fast forward membership, we had a couple of people on the calls, and now we go on and it's a sea of faces from people
Yeah.
all over, and then we're like, hey, connecting people. Oh, so and so is this
Yes.
country, and um, seeing people meet up in person because of TFA is
Yeah.
so cool. It's like, oh, we just met up in Vienna for coffee, and it's all thanks to like the community that we've built, bring people together. And I think that's just when that happens, I'm so happy.
That's true. I mean, our membership kind of exploded the last 6 months. So now we're facilitating calls of like sometimes there's 16, 17, 18 people on a call. And I was like, whoa, like it's like a party in here. This is so fun. Like, all right, what are we doing, everybody? Because in the beginning, it's like 4 of us. It's like, okay, how's everybody doing? But now it's like, whoa, okay, we've got a group of people and everyone's here for a reason and we're here to get stuff done, but also to connect. We are very good at celebrating with nice dinners. I have to say that's
Oh,
definitely a highlight.
yes. Yes, good food, really good food. No matter where we are, you can find good food in Minneapolis.
What's one of the best meals we've had? I'm thinking back to the place beside your house in So,
Oh,
the
yes, I
restaurant
lived right on top
underneath.
of a restaurant, which just was incredible, and I wish I had gone there all the time now that I'm here and don't have access to it.
Oh man. There's another place in Paris that we went to. What's that place called?
Near the Eiffel Tower.
It's like there's like a walkway and then there's an overpass kind
Oh,
of
yes, yes,
fancy and
yes.
then you go into
Incredible food.
um
I mean, yeah, nice meals, good wine.
yes, exactly. I remember we watched a course about how to build a membership, and that felt significant to me because I was like, okay, like I think that we could really make this a big part of what TFA is because the mastermind is very high level, it's high intensity, it's a higher price point. So it takes a certain person at a certain stage in their career to say yes, but the membership we make it really accessible financially.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, we got to learn how to do that. Like, how are we going to manage this when it becomes like, 30, 50, 100 people? We watch a course about it. But then actually it sat dormant for a while. But I think that's also a thing that we've done. Like, we learn a lot of ideas and then we let them kind of stew and then marinate and then we take action on like when it
Hmm.
feels like it's time.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I guess, I mean, the last one would just be like getting to see each other so often in person because it was like, okay, we have to meet for like the business. So it's just a really
Yes.
great excuse to also spend
Yeah,
time
it's
together.
great to
And
have those touch points. It's harder now that we are in different continents, but Michelle has already trekked over here a couple of times, and it is so fun to be able to be in
it's been
person and
3 times.
discuss
Hasn't I
all of
been there?
this. Three, yeah.
It's
You have
crazy.
come 3 times. That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Deanna, 5 years in, what's something we're gonna listen back to this episode in 5 years and be like, wow, I wish that they would have known. What are we going for? What are we dreaming
Ooh,
of?
next 5 years. Next 5 years. Keep growing that membership because it is such a beautiful thing, and it's exciting. People have energy. They're excited to be there. There's positive energy. Who knows where we could be in 5 years?
I mean, we talked a lot about like working with other artists outside of the music industry because we see so many people struggling with the same concepts. Like we've had painters and writers and journalists approach us and say like, oh, we have the same problems with like what you said earlier, accountability. Also, like bringing
Hmm.
on other facilitators so that we can have more coaches under the TFA umbrella. I'm getting certified as a ICF, International Coaching
Yep.
Federation.
Oh, I would
So
I would love to do that as well. That would be
yeah,
definitely in my next 5 year plan to
yeah,
also get that certification. Because it is so cool to be able to do that.
yeah. There's so many people we want to impact, and like just having the numbers grow, keep spreading the word. I mean, Constantine is making us hilarious memes, which is really helping getting our numbers up because more and more people are discovering us because of the funny content, which comes back to just being more us being relatable. And yeah, an in-person retreat. That's for sure going to happen
Yes.
in the next 5 years.
In-person retreat definitely happening. Been a little bit difficult with small tiny children, so traveling is not quite on my plate at the moment, but it will be in the future because that's one thing we both love to do is travel, you and me. Well,
Okay,
cheers to the
well,
next 5 years.
cheers to the next 5 years. Thanks for everything that you've done to build your side of TFA and everything
My
you
side,
continue
us
to do.
together. It was a team effort
Us
all the way.
together. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good team effort.
Mhm.
And thanks for being the most fun to work with. And
Oh, you too.
yeah, everything that
Thank
you've
you for
helped
bringing
me.
all the energy and light and just it's very contagious, bright, positive energy that everyone loves. So That
Well,
is special.
thanks for letting me do that though, because that's something that I was thinking about before this episode. Like you've let me come with the ideas and the energy, and you've never said to me like you're too much. And that's something that I've dealt with in other relationships. And you've never been like you need to tone it down, like stop. You've only just encouraged me to go like bigger. So I mean, I think thanks for giving us the space to shine and like agreeing to like keep building, because I know it's been like this journey of like how much do we invest and how much do we go and what can we put into this, and you've always been like, yeah, let's go, like, let's do this.
Yeah, and we've always made things work. There's a new infant involved, it is really hard to have those ups and downs, the flows of in terms of how much and what we're pouring into the company and everything, but to be able to have that understanding, flexibility, support, open communication, these are the things that are going to make it that we can get through anything, that we can continue building every year. So yeah, so excited to see what the future has for us.
Well, thanks everybody for listening to this a special bonus episode of our podcast, and we actually are going to do a giveaway to celebrate 5 years. We'd love to offer 5 winners a free month of our membership when you sign up, and all you have to do to enter is screenshot this episode, share it to your stories, and tag us. And we're going to pick 5 winners to get a free month fast forward when you sign in. So that's going to be fun.
Yes.
We're looking forward to meeting new people. And yeah, Tiana, thanks for everything today. And do you have an action point that people can take after listening to this episode?
Action point. Yeah. Besides be fearless, action point would be, I would say, find the place that you need the support and get those people around you. Surround yourself with people who are going to hold you accountable, who are going to listen to your ideas, who are going to help you advance in the ways that you want to in your life and in your career, and then hold on to those people. That's what we have built here, and that's what we love to see.
Amazing. Thank you, Deanna. Thanks to everybody who's listening, and we'll see you at the next episode. Until then, be fearless.
Be fearless.